Hello everyone, welcome back to the sideboard at the Cincinnati Standard Open, and we're getting ready for the top four to go underway. We've got obviously only two matchups left for you. We have Chris Weidinger, who's going to be playing against Lauren Nolan, and that's Frights against Jund midrange, and then Todd Anderson on blue-white-red control against Joe Bernal's black-red zombies deck. Really more of like an aggro burn deck, but definitely has the zombies element in it. Let's start with the Miracles on Zombies matchup. In the earlier rounds during the Swiss, Joe was actually paired against this exact deck list in the hands of Brad Nelson and dispatched it with relative ease on one of the SCG Live feature match tables. So the matchup seems like it favors Joe. The Miracles deck has a lot of answers to zombies. They came prepared to beat traditional zombies decks, but this isn't, like I said, a traditional zombies deck. So it's got a lot more burn. It's got Bump in the Nights plus the flashback to give it significantly more reach. So the life totals that the blue-white-red deck is generally trying to stabilize on are actually not that safe. Between Bump in the Night and Searing Spear, Joe can really get up there, just steal the game from them, and post-board he has Underworld connections to help him become even more of a consolidated burn deck where he's just trying to peel multiple burn spells to kill the opponent, and there's not a lot that Todd can possibly do about that because he doesn't have permission with the absence of a lot of the counter spells in the format. Syncopate is really not that good against a deck that's trying to just zap you with Searing Spears and Bump in the Nights, especially when they can just wait to deploy them, because Syncopate is incredibly inefficient to try and leave open to counter important spells with. So I go ahead and give the matchup to Joe. It seems like it advantages him. Obviously Todd can win if he gets a problem permanent in play. It'll be very difficult. A small entreat very early in the game can go a long way to closing it out before Joe can actually get underway. But by and large, I think he enjoys a pretty reasonable advantage in the matchup. Chris Weidinger's Frights deck against Lauren Nolan's midrange deck, probably very similar. One of the things that Frights actually does as a deck is try to go over the top circa around turn like 5, maybe 6. The midrange deck is all about moving the game into turn 5 or 6 where it has like a slight advantage. The problem is when you're putting in like a 6/6 Angel that's going to bring back a bunch of friends if it dies, like that's a pretty heavy advantage because that's just more threats than a mid-range deck is prepared to deal with. Lauren doesn't have a lot of sweepers that can handle that. He has like Sever the Bloodline as one of his more efficient answers, but against the first Angel, that's not going to do very much, and it can't kill the first one and the second one at the same time because the other one's always hidden underneath. So he's generally going to be in trouble. If he can untap with an Olivia Voldaren, that can make it very difficult for Chris, his opponent, to actually use a reanimation spell because the risk of getting an Angel stolen is kind of large. The issue is that, of course, Chris has answers to Olivia Voldaren. He has 2 Dreadboard in the main deck. He has a Sever post board. It's not going to be that difficult for him to actually answer a 3/3 for 4. Post board, Lauren gains Cremates, which are a pretty reasonable weapon in the matchup. But Chris just got through 3 Tormod scripts in the last round. And I would imagine those are much worse for him. Cremate also has the disadvantage for Lauren of forcing him to keep mana open, which slows down his already pretty slow deck. And Chris just beat a much more aggressive green-black style deck in the first round of the top 8. So I think that Chris's deck definitely has the advantage here. It's capable of winning. It's certainly proven that already. And I imagine we'll be seeing Chris and Joe dueling it in the finals. It seems like both decks have pretty strong margins against their opponents. So it'll be tough for our invitational champions to crack through these new brews. I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to the booth with Zach Hall and Matthias Hunt, and they'll go ahead and give you the next match.